Hi, my name is Courtney Davis, and I'm going to go ahead and do my PowerPoint literature review, which was based on project-based learning in the high school environment. And I'm going to go ahead and introduce the class. The class I'm taking this spring semester is in Dr. Allen's class, and it's Graduate Technology and Education. It's IL 504. So without further ado, my name is Courtney Davis again, and this is my literature review presentation. Hope you enjoy. So first of all, what I'm going to talk about is what is project-based learning, why is it important, why are we implementing it, why are we even thinking about designing it and having it for our students to learn. It's a way of it's a blended classroom really, when you blend a lot of stuff that is done traditionally with the new technology, and that's going to be with our way of our laptops that we have in our classrooms. We have classroom sets for students that do not have them, and we're also going to be blending in technology that is in the form of Chromebooks and anything that we can get our hands on, from Elmos to iPads. So without further ado, what is talking about what project-based learning is to me and what I found within my literature review with the articles that I found. So the first thing, project-based learning, for it to be successful, it has to be authentic, it has to be genuine, and it has to have purpose behind it. When I say authentic, the students need to know that it's relevant to them. Relevancy is very important, because if students don't feel like it's relevant, they're not going to want to learn it. They will sit in the classroom, this doesn't apply to me, and many times we hear students ask the question, how is this going to help me in my life, my future life? And we have to make sure that all of our things that we do within our classes is going to be real world based and real world scenario, and that's what project-based learning does. The purpose behind it has to have a purpose. And the last thing I'm going to talk about in this slide says we have to begin with the end in mind. So we as teachers, we have to do a lot of pre-planning before we go ahead and introduce it to our class, as far as setting up the design process for it, and how we're going to implement it, and how we're going to get our students to really learn the curriculum or what we want to teach them, objectives at that point in time. Another thing is going to be real world application and scenario based. Real world application. Anytime we bring anything to our school now, which we've incorporated evidence-based learning and project-based learning, what we're doing is setting them up with a real world scenario so that they feel that they're infused and really involved into the process. Something that's relevant to them, something that's going to catch their attention and keep their attention all the way through from the beginning to the end. Like I'm saying, we got to help them see the big picture at the end so that they want to go ahead and go through the process to get the job done. It has to be scenario based, so that goes with the real life situation. Like in my anatomy classes, we did something with integumentary system disorders and diseases of the skin, and one thing they had to do is find out or act as a dermatologist or a physician that had diagnosed a person with a skin disorder. So acting as that, and they had to dress up as that person as well. They had to find out the treatments and everything. So project-based learning gives them a real-world situation and really sets them up for success, because they're really involved into it, especially my nursing students that want to pursue a degree in nursing. Another thing is collaborative, and it promotes critical thinking. At my school and many schools around the country, what we're trying to enhance is 21st century skills, and that's going to be collaboration, communication, creativity, critical thinking skills. That's what we're trying to make our students do, think critically. And in these articles within my literature review and finding information on this project-based learning, how we implement and design it at the high school level, it really helps students to take ownership of their learning. And another thing is going to be enhancing problem-solving skills. These students are going to be really faced with real life situations, so why not go ahead and introduce them to handling and multitasking right now, so they can go ahead and get them ready for college and career readiness. And that's one of the standards we're teaching. So begin with the end in mind. Project-based learning sets that up. Next, I want to go ahead and talk about the characteristics of project-based learning, and I have 6 listed for you. It is going to be heavily involved with active engagement. These students really, they want and long for their hands to really touch something. That's kinesthetic learning that touches so many learners, and we know that we have students that learn differently, so multiple intelligence are really going to be reached with this, because they are able to think by themselves. They have their own voice and choice, and it's student focused. One thing we're trying to do, we're trying to become facilitators, and project-based learning sets that up to where we can actually be in the background and have the students leading the conversations, leading their projects, researching everything, so they're enhanced in their in critical thinking skills. Another thing, it focuses on a problem or a central question. At the beginning, like I said, we're going to begin with the end in mind. So when you're talking about that, you're going to be talking about that, hey, these students have to know that whatever the problem is, they got to come up with the solution. And building 21st century skills, like I said, we're trying to enhance those skills on collaboration and communication. Varying products to assess, that's going to come up with, hey, my students, they have different ways that they can show me that they've learned what I've taught. And next to the last thing is 6 steps that I found within my research on these journal articles, and that's for designing, implementing, and assessing project-based learning. So step 1, you have to identify outcomes and assessments before you even teach anything. What are the outcomes and how are you going to assess those students? Project-based learning sets up different forms that I can go and go ahead and assess them. And step 2 is going to be designing the scenario. Step 3 is introducing the PBL, and I try to do this in a catchy way so that they're introduced to it and they are enthused by it and interested to carry the project out. Step 4 is the research, where they really get hands-on. They do their own thing. I'm just acting there as a facilitator. And now it's become not teacher-led, and now it's student-led. And I found within my research that students can learn more from each other than they can even learn from the teacher. Product performance, this is where they show the varying forms of assessments, and I'm able to go into step 6, where I assess them many different ways and many different rubrics I can use. But project-based learning really sets it up where the students have voice and choice. They can really think for themselves, and they have freedom to do it in any kind of way that they can get it done. So this is my reference page, and I use many different references. And it's coming up next. So the last thing I want to talk about is building impacts and on student achievement. It builds self-confidence and ownership. Like I said, it enhances those 21st century skills we're trying to incorporate, and also it increases higher order thinking skills. Our students have to be able to elaborate, and that's why it gives them an open-ended assessment or form of answering questions. And it increases the depth of knowledge as well. The DOK that we're talking about, increasing from just how and what to analyze and justify. And it gives also the students real world experiences. So if we can make it relevant and make it real, they learn even more. And this is my reference page, and I hope you have enjoyed.